Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be flipping through all of the pages that I made in the first quarter of 2025. I did quarterly journal flip throughs last year and I thought it was just fun to keep you guys up on how I've been filling out my journal. So this is just going to be a comprehensive flip through of what I've made so far this year. If you're new to my channel, I've kind of changed my journaling style a lot from last year to this year. So it's really fun to look at these pages and see how my style is changing, and I just love these pages so much and I'm so excited to share them with you guys today. Hopefully seeing some of these pages gives you guys inspo for your own journals, and yeah, let's move over to my desk and flip through these pages. So here is my 2025 journal that I've been using. It is a Leuchtturm dotted journal. I believe this is the A5 size, but I'm obsessed with the color of it. The pages are definitely a lot more thin than what I'm used to. The only thing I will say is you do have to be careful with the amount of ephemera that you use since the pages are so thin, but other than that I have really been liking it. And I got this sticker on the front here from Etsy. The shop name is Okmart. I'll have it in the description because I just love it so much. I think it matches the cover perfectly. Of course, I start off all of my journals with a vision board, so this happens to be the one that I made for 2025. You will notice throughout the pages of my journal that I do love a neutral color scheme, so this one followed that vibe as well. I did create the collage itself here on Canva, and then I actually printed it out and just pasted it in here rather than actually collaging it. Honestly, don't do that often because I do love the act of physically collaging in my journal, but sometimes it's just easier. I searched up on Pinterest some photos relating to the things that I wanted to accomplish in 2025 and just the overall like vibe that I was feeling for the year, and put it all together. Then we have my ins and outs for 2025. I did do this in a video, but I wrote down all of the different things that I want to bring into 2025 with me, and then all of the things that I want to take out, obviously. And then in this little envelope here, I wrote a little letter to myself that I'll probably open at the end of 2025. I love this idea. I'm really excited to eventually open it up because I already forget what I wrote in here. Then we have my little reading tracker. I actually have not filled this out yet. I haven't even read that many books so far this year, to be honest, but I have to come back into this and fill it out soon. I also threw in this little library card element where I wrote down all of my reading goals for the year, and funny enough, one of them is to read less, which I've definitely accomplished. So I left some blank pages after this little spread so that way I could continue the table if I had more books than what would fit on here. And then I also just thought that I could do more like yearly reading journal spreads on these blank pages just to have it all in one place. Then we have my December recap page. I ran out of pages in my 2024 journal to do this spread, so I had to do it in here, which I'm not mad about. I love doing these monthly little recap spreads in my journal where basically I just collage my favorite photos of the month and then also just my favorite things. This one is definitely more photos based, but I always like to do a Receiptify playlist. So if you don't know, there's a website called Receiptify where you can either custom or like auto-populate your most listened to songs of the month. And then what's also cool is that you can customize the title as well. So I'll always put whatever month it is so that it kind of calls it out on the page. I used some wrapping paper in the background here, which I thought was really fun. And then of course, like I mentioned, put in some of my favorite pictures that I took. Next, we have a little junk journal spread. So I got this bag when I got something from Aesop. So I decided to put it in the page just because it's so pretty. And then here we have a few more junk journal stuff. So we have a Aritzia tag, this chicken finger label, and then I have a photo booth strip, and then just a random photo of a little shopping day that I had. So that's why I put this little bag element that I got on Pinterest as well. If you don't know, junk journaling is basically just sticking in random ephemera into your journal. So like this clothing tag and bag, for example, are some perfect elements to put in for that. And I've been really getting back into junk journaling this year. So this was, of course, my first and very fun to make. This is a little spread that I did about my birthday dinner that I had. What was really cool is the restaurant that we went to gave us a Polaroid photo. So of course I put that in here, and then this is the envelope that the picture came in. So I decided to stick that in here here as well. And of course I stuck in some cute photos that I took throughout the night. Here's my little 2025 media page. So I basically just put in all of the movies and books that I want to read and watch in the year 2025. I really like doing this because I constantly have a list in my head or my notes app of all of the recommended movies and books that I've heard about. I do that every year and I feel like it's really hard to actually get to consuming it, so I decided to stick it into my journal to just serve as a reminder. And I feel like so far I have been doing better with watching movies and reading books because I put like this visual representation of what I want to get to this year. But let me know if you guys have watched any of these movies or read any of these. I would love to know your thoughts and if it's worth it. Another little birthday spread here. I do have a January birthday, so that's why I have a few coming up, but this is just a night out with my friends that I had. So of course I have the receipt and some pictures from the night, as well as the card that my friends made me. I really like this little record element that I printed out to put my little photo on the cover of it. Just something different that I wanted to try. Here we have my current favorites page. I like to do these every once in a while just to document all of my current favorites, obviously. So it's kind of the same concept as the vision board. I basically just go into Pinterest and search up some of my favorite things and then try to collage them. I actually made this little corkboard playlist element on Procreate. I actually do have it up for sale on my Etsy and my Beacons. I always feel weird like promoting my digital products, but I do have a few that are available, so if you guys are interested in having something like this for your journal, I'll have it in the description. But pretty much I just write down all of my current favorite songs on here. It's just something different than the Receiptify playlist, but it still adds a lot to the journal page. Here's my January recap. So for this one I made the Receiptify title chapter 1 of 12, which I thought was fun. And then like I mentioned, I just collage all of my favorite pictures from the month. I also like to put in my favorite media, so I watched Lady Bird, which I'm obsessed with, so I put that in. And then my album on repeat was SZA's Deluxe of SOS, so I put that album cover there. This is another journal element that I made. It's basically just a little clipboard where you can write down all of the books that you read. So here I jotted down all of the books that I read or am currently reading in January. It's just another cute way to log your current media. This is another little collage that I mentioned, which I made on Canva rather than collaging onto the page. So this spread is focused all about the 25 things that I love. I saw this on Pinterest and thought it would be really fun since I hadn't done it before. Basically, you just write down 25 things you like, and then I decided to also put a collage relating to those things. So this was really fun, and I definitely should do an updated one of these maybe towards the end of the year. This is one of my all-time favorite spreads that I've ever made in any of my journals. I saw this idea on Instagram. It's basically a vibe I bring to the function theme. So you essentially just collage all of the things that make you you. As you could probably tell, I love documenting my favorite things, so the spread was perfect for me. And more than anything, I just love the style of this page. The way that the cutouts are layered is just so much fun, and I definitely tried to continue this style throughout my future pages. Here we have my Valentine's Day spread. I honestly don't love the way that this turned out, but of course I wanted to document my Valentine's Day, so we have some receipts. The restaurant we went to actually had a little photo booth, which was perfect, so I put that in here. And then I made this little photo strip element through Canva. Next we have my spring mood board, which is kind of random. I basically just collaged a bunch of things that reminded me of spring. Again, I used that little corkboard element that I made to put in my springtime playlist. I definitely love making seasonal mood boards like this. It just gets me excited, and I really like the way that this turned out. Here we have my February recap. This came out really plain, honestly. I think it's just because February was a short month, so I didn't have a lot of photos or things to collage, but I made do with what I had. We have a book that I read in February, a little map that I had when we went to the city, and then I made this little Polaroid element on Canva. And of course, I always have to have my Receiptify playlist. I didn't mention this, but I also love to add little doodles onto the playlist. I feel like it adds a bit more to the element. This is my first blank page. I definitely need to come back to this because I want to kind of collage all of my digital products that I've made into one spread. So far I have my little trinket invitation that I made, but I also want to put in like my corkboard and all the other elements that I've made in here just to remember them. Here we have my picnic basket spread. This was inspired by a TikTok filter where you would pick out all of the things that you would bring to a picnic. So I thought it would be fun to turn that into a journal page, which is what I did here. I also felt like this was such like a springy vibe, which I love. So I put in my favorite snacks and just the things that I would personally bring with me on a picnic. I really wish I kind of blew this up more and made it come towards the edges of the page, but I still really like the way that it turned out. This is another like Instagram inspired page. There was a trend going around where you would post a carousel about all of the things that started your lore. So basically all of your like childhood favorites essentially. I thought it was so fun and I wanted to participate but in journal form. So I picked out all of the media that I remember loving as a kid and collaged them together. There's so many different things here. We have books and music and movies and shows. Let me know if you guys recognize any of these things or if any of these were also your favorites as a kid. I love how colorful this spread is, especially because I was doing so many neutral spreads before this. And once again, I followed that kind of collaging style that I showed you guys previously. It's just so fun to layer pictures out like this. I especially love the little clipboard that I stuck in the back here just to add more layering. This is my about me page. Basically, I just collaged all of the things that represent me. So kind of similar to the vibes I bring to the function page, but slightly different. I went to a photo booth, so of course I had to put that in. So once again, just collage all of my favorite things, mostly media, and then of course we have to have the Receiptify playlist. I included all of my like all-time favorite songs on here, which I thought was fun. But I will say my favorite part about this spread is probably the polka dot scrapbook paper that I used in the background. I just feel like it tied everything together really well. This spread is pretty random, but I had a bunch of extra photos. Since I'm printing out pictures for my journal so often, I end up with a lot of extras. I didn't want them to go to waste, of course, so I just did a random spread with no real category. I essentially just wanted to do like a blue and green color scheme and stick in some extra ephemera and photos that I had. I like experimenting with layering, and especially recently I've been kind of trying to change up my style of journaling, so this was good like practice, you could say. This is my dream closet page. I'm so happy with how this turned out. My favorite part is probably the blue scrapbook paper that I used in the background, and then also the handwritten title that I made. But this was a Pinterest inspired spread, basically just collaged all of the things that I would like to have in my wardrobe. I love clothes and outfits, so this was definitely very fun to put together. Basically just went onto my Pinterest outfit board and picked out some cute things. I love layering like full frame photos like this with cutouts. I feel like it adds a lot of dimension to the page and just makes it a lot more interesting. If you're into clothes, I would most definitely recommend doing a spread like this. It was so much fun. This is a spread that was kind of like two separate pages that came together with the color scheme. On the left here, I did a life lately page, which I used to do in my 2024 journal a lot. It's kind of similar to a monthly recap, but mid-month usually is when I will do them. So I put in some photos of my friends and I, a receipt that I collected, and some labels as well. Since I try to collect so much ephemera, obviously I usually can't use all of it in my monthly recap spread. So spreads like this are good because I can get use out of almost all of my ephemera that way. Here is another like Pinterest inspired spread. I basically just collaged all of the things that I keep in my bag. I thought this idea was so much fun, and similar to like the about me page and stuff like that, I feel like it's very personal and customizable, which I always love. It just makes your journal feel like your journal. And once again, doing little cutouts layered over a full frame page always makes the spread just look so put together and nice. So I love the way that this turned out. And of course, for both of these, I used the Martinez Tiny Store ransom letters, which I'm obsessed with. It just makes every page look good. This is a page that's kind of unfinished. I want to do a title or something up here, but I basically just put some photos of a recent weekend. We have a business card, 2 pictures, and then this is also a business card, but let me know what you guys think I should fill in this blank space. I'm debating between letters to make a title or stickers, so let me know what you think would look best. And we've made it to my most recent page, which is a March recap spread. I'm genuinely so excited about this page. Like I mentioned throughout these pages, I'm really trying to change my journaling style, and I feel like this spread, since it is my most recent one, is the closest to what I want my style to be like. It's just so me, and I love how I incorporated the style of collaging that I normally do with some doodles, which are my absolute favorite thing to do, and I haven't been doing it in my journal in forever, so it's so fun to come back to that. Of course, book pages in the background are my staple, as well as the Receiptify playlist. Another kind of element of my style that I'm trying to change is to use more color in my journal, so I feel like this is a good balance of still having neutrals with pops of color, and I feel like it's kind of the exact ratio of like neutrals to colors that I want my pages to have. I've always been like fearful almost of writing in my scrapbook journal just because I don't do it often, so I never want it to like ruin the spread, but I'm actually obsessed with the way that these little texts came out. Just to call out each photo was really fun to do. Overall, just very happy with the way that this turned out and excited to do more pages like this in the rest of my journal. But that is all of my Q1 journal pages. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video and flipping through all of my Q1 journal pages. I really hope you guys were inspired by these pages, and if you're gonna try out any of these ideas, please let me know. And once again, I do have some videos here on my channel where I show the progress of how I made some of these pages, so if you're interested in that, I'll have some videos in the description, and I will see you guys in my next video.